Captain Ryan Hughes watched the stars through the bridge window of the UES Discovery. 3 years ago, humans had finally learned how to travel faster than light. Now he was exploring a new star system, looking for planets that humans could live on. "Captain, we're getting strange readings," said Lieutenant Sarah Williams from her station. "There are ships coming toward us. Big ships." Ryan moved to look at her screen. 5 massive vessels were approaching. They were unlike anything humans had ever built. The ships were smooth and dark, with strange lights pulsing along their sides. "Try to contact them," Ryan ordered. His heart was beating fast. This was it. First contact with aliens. The main screen flickered to life. A creature appeared that made Ryan step back. It had 4 arms, gray skin, and eyes that glowed yellow. When it spoke, the computer translated its words. "Unknown vessel, you will identify yourself," the alien said. Its voice was cold and commanding. "This is Captain Ryan Hughes of the United Earthship Discovery. We come in peace," Ryan replied, trying to sound calm. The alien's eyes narrowed. "Earth? We have not heard of this world. You are new to space travel, yes? Your ship is primitive." Ryan felt embarrassed but kept his voice steady. "We are explorers. We mean no harm to anyone. I am High Arbiter Zexthal of the Hegemony, the alien continued. "All worlds in this galaxy belong to us. All species must obey our laws." "We didn't know," Ryan said. "We're just exploring." "Ignorance is no excuse," Zexthal replied. "You will return to your world. Tell your leaders they must surrender to the hegemony. They have 60 of your days to give up all weapons and accept our rule. If they refuse, we will destroy your entire species." The screen went black. Ryan stared at the empty space where the alien had been. Around the bridge, his crew looked shocked and scared. "Did he just threaten to kill everyone on Earth?" asked Lieutenant Williams. "Yes," Ryan said quietly. "He did." 2 weeks later, Ryan stood in the United Earth Government building in Geneva. President Elizabeth Warren sat at a long table with leaders from every nation on Earth. Admiral Catherine Morrison, the head of Earth's space fleet, sat beside her. Dr. Benjamin Carter, Earth's top scientist who studied aliens, was there too. "Tell us again what this alien said," President Warren asked Ryan. Ryan repeated Zexthal's words. The room was silent when he finished. "How many ships do they have?" asked Admiral Morrison. "Our sensors counted over 300 in their main fleet," Ryan replied. "Each one was bigger than our largest battleship." Dr. Carter leaned forward. "I've been studying the data from your encounter. Their technology is hundreds of years ahead of ours. Their weapons could destroy our cities from space. Their shields could stop our best missiles." "So you're saying we should surrender?" asked the Chinese representative. "I'm saying we need to be realistic," Dr. Carter replied. "Fighting them would be like throwing rocks at a tank." Admiral Morrison slammed her hand on the table. "I disagree. Humans have always fought when someone tried to make us slaves. We didn't give up when the odds were bad before." "This is different," said the Russian president. "This isn't a war between humans. These aliens could wipe us out completely." "Maybe," Admiral Morrison said, "but maybe not. We're not the same species they're used to fighting. We think differently. We adapt faster than anyone expects." President Warren looked around the room. "Dr. Carter, in your opinion, do we have any chance at all?" Dr. Carter was quiet for a long moment. "There is one thing," he said slowly. "I've been studying their communications. All their species seem to think in very organized ways. They follow patterns. They do what they're told without question. And humans don't," Admiral Morrison said with a slight smile. "Exactly. Humans are chaotic, unpredictable. They might not be ready for that." "It's still suicide," said the European Union president. President Warren stood up. "I need to think about this. We'll meet again tomorrow." That night, President Warren walked on the White House lawn with Admiral Morrison. The stars seemed different now, knowing that enemies were out there among them. "What are you really thinking, Kate?" the president asked. "I'm thinking about my daughter," Admiral Morrison replied. "She's 12 years old. If we surrender, she'll grow up as a slave to aliens who think humans are nothing special. If we fight, she might die, but at least she'll die free. The other leaders are scared. Most of them want to surrender. I know, but some don't. The Americans, British and Japanese are ready to fight. So are the Australians and Canadians. That's enough to start with. President Warren looked up at the stars again. If we do this, millions of people will die. If we don't do this, billions of people will live as slaves forever. The next day, the world leaders met again. The debate went on for hours. Some countries wanted to surrender immediately. Others wanted to fight. In the end, President Warren called for a vote. The result was close but clear. Earth would resist. God help us all, whispered the French president. Admiral Morrison was already making plans. We have 43 days left. We need to build weapons, train soldiers, and prepare our defenses. Dr. Carter, I need you to figure out how their technology works. I'll try, Dr. Carter said. But Kate, even if we surprise them at first, they'll learn. They'll adapt. Then we'll have to adapt faster, Admiral Morrison replied. Captain Ryan Hughes was given command of a new ship, the UES Defiance. As he watched workers installing new weapons based on alien technology, he wondered if they were brave or just crazy. Maybe both, he thought. But at least they would face whatever came next as free humans, not as slaves. In space, High Arbiter, Zexthul received the message from Earth. The humans refused to surrender. He was surprised but not worried. Many species had tried to resist the hegemony. All of them had failed. Prepare the war fleet, he ordered. These humans will learn what happens when someone defies the hegemony. But as his ships began to move toward Earth, Zexthul did not know that he was about to face something the hegemony had never encountered before. An entire species that refused to give up, no matter what the odds. An entire species that would rather die fighting than live. On their knees, the war was about to begin. Admiral Catherine Morrison stood in the largest military factory on Earth. Around her, thousands of workers were building weapons and ships faster than anyone had thought possible. 35 days remained until the alien deadline. How many ships will we have ready? She asked Colonel Marcus Thompson, who was overseeing the construction. 43 combat vessels, Thompson replied. Not counting the civilian ships we're converting into fighters. And how many ships do the aliens have? Our best guess is over 300 in their main fleet, maybe more. Morrison nodded grimly. The odds were terrible, but they were better than nothing. Dr. Lisa Rodriguez ran from one laboratory to another, checking on dozens of research projects. Her team was working day and night to understand the alien technology that Captain Hughes had brought back from his encounter. The good news is their technology isn't magic, she told Morrison during their daily meeting. It follows the same laws of physics we do. The bad news is they're about 200 years ahead of us. Can we catch up in 5 weeks? Morrison asked. Not completely, but we might be able to build weapons that can hurt them. Rodriguez showed Morrison a small device that glowed with blue light. This is a quantum torpedo. It uses their own shield frequency against them. One of these should be able to punch through their defenses. How many can you make? If we work without stopping, maybe 200. That's not enough for a long war. Then we better win quickly. Commander Jake Sullivan was having secret meetings in basements and abandoned buildings around the world. His job was to prepare for the worst-case scenario. What would happen if the aliens invaded Earth? We can't fight them in open battles, he told a group of volunteers in London. They have better weapons and armor, but we know our own planet better than they do. The volunteers were ordinary people, teachers, mechanics, doctors, shop owners, but they all wanted to learn how to fight for their freedom. Hide weapons in the cities, Sullivan instructed. Learn the underground tunnels and back streets. If they land here, we'll make them pay for every block they take. Similar meetings were happening in New York, Tokyo, Berlin, and hundreds of other cities. Millions of humans were learning how to be soldiers. Lieutenant Amanda Brooks was testing humanity's new fighter planes at a secret base in Nevada. The planes looked strange. Part human engineering, part alien technology. The engines are based on their propulsion systems, explained Dr. Rodriguez, as Brooks climbed into the cockpit. But we've made them smaller and faster. Brooks started the engine and felt the ship lift off the ground without making any sound. "This is incredible," she said into her radio. "It flies like a dream." "Can it fight?" Morrison asked. Brooks flew the ship through a series of combat tests, firing the new quantum weapons at target drones. "It's faster than anything we've ever built," she reported, "but I don't know if it's fast enough to outrun alien fighters." "We'll find out soon enough." Dr. Benjamin Carter was studying every piece of information they had about the hegemony. He had learned to read some of their language and was trying to understand how they thought. "They've conquered dozens of species," he reported to President Warren, "but they've never faced anything like humans." "What makes us different?" Warren asked. "Every other species they've fought thinks in predictable patterns. They follow rules. They do what they're supposed to do, but humans are chaotic. We break rules, we do unexpected things." "Is that enough to win a war?" "It might be enough to survive one." Carter had made another important discovery. The hegemony isn't as united as they pretend to be. Some of their member species were conquered, not allies. There are rebels among them. Can we contact these rebels? Maybe. If we can prove that the hegemony can be beaten, some of their subjects might join us. Meanwhile, Commander Alex Turner was building humanity's cyber warfare capabilities. His team of computer experts was creating viruses and hacking programs designed to attack alien systems. "Their computers are more advanced than ours," Turner explained to Morrison. "But they're also more complex. That gives us opportunities." "What kind of opportunities?" "Their ships all talk to each other through quantum networks. If we can break into one ship, we might be able to control their whole fleet." Turner's team was also preparing propaganda broadcasts to send to the enslaved species in the hegemony. "If we can convince them to rebel, the aliens will have to fight on multiple fronts." Captain Derek Mason was training with the crew of his new ship, the UES Defiance. The ship was faster and more maneuverable than the old human vessels, but it was still smaller than the alien warships. "We can't fight them head to head," Mason told his crew. "We have to be smarter. Hit them fast, then run away before they can hit back." "What if they chase us?" asked his weapons officer. "Then we lead them into a trap." Mason and the other ship captains were developing new tactics based on everything they had learned about alien behavior. The aliens fought in organized formations and followed standard procedures. Humans would do the opposite. President Warren toured military bases around the world, speaking to soldiers and civilians who were preparing for war. Everyone knew the odds were against them, but no one was talking about surrender. "My daughter asked me yesterday why we're fighting," Warren told a group of pilots. "She wanted to know why we don't just do what the aliens want." The room was quiet as she continued. "I told her that some things are worth dying for. Freedom is one of them. The right to make our own choices is another." "And what did she say?" asked one of the pilots. "She said she understood, and she asked if she could learn to fly a fighter plane." Warren smiled sadly. "She's only 12 years old, but she already knows what this war is really about." As the deadline approached, Dr. Rodriguez made a breakthrough that could change everything. "I've figured out how to disrupt their quantum communications," she announced to the War Council. "What does that mean?" Morrison asked. "It means we might be able to cut off their ships from each other. Make them fight alone instead of as a group." "How?" Rodriguez showed them a device that looked like a metal sphere covered in crystals. "A quantum jammer. If we can get this close to their fleet, it will block all their communications for a few hours. Close enough to use it means close enough to die," Morrison observed. "Probably, but it might give us an advantage." With 5 days left until the deadline, Admiral Morrison called together all the ship captains for a final meeting. "This might be the last time we're all in the same room," she told them. "In a few days we'll either be free or we'll be dead." "Any regrets?" asked Captain Mason. Morrison looked around the room at the faces of men and women who had volunteered to fight an impossible war. "Only one. I wish we had more time to prepare." "How much difference would more time make?" asked another captain. "Probably not enough," Morrison admitted. "But we're not fighting this war to win. We're fighting it because it's right." Captain Hughes spoke up from the back of the room. 6 weeks ago, I met an alien who told me that humanity would have to become slaves. or die. He thought that was the end of the conversation. And now? Morrison asked. Now he's about to learn that humans don't like being given ultimatums. The meeting ended with the captains shaking hands and wishing each other luck. They all knew that many of them would not survive the coming battle. As the alien fleet approached, Earth High Arbiter Zexthal was confident that the humans would surrender at the last moment. Every species eventually realized that resistance was hopeless. But when his ships arrived at Earth, they found something no hegemony fleet had ever encountered before. The humans were waiting for them, armed and ready to fight. This is your last chance, Zexthal broadcast to Earth. Surrender now or face complete destruction. President Warren's response was broadcast across the galaxy. Earth's answer is the same as it was 5 weeks ago. We will not bow. We will not kneel. We will not surrender our freedom to anyone. Zexthal stared at his communication screen in disbelief. No species had ever refused the hegemony twice. Very well, he said. Begin the attack. The war for humanity's survival was about to begin. Captain Derek Mason gripped the controls of the UES Defiance as alien ships filled the space around Earth. 2 months of preparation had led to this moment. The hegemony had come to crush humanity, but they were about to get a surprise. Enemy fleet detected, announced Lieutenant Amanda Brooks from the weapons station. 47 ships all heading straight for us. They think this will be easy, Captain Mason said into his radio. All human ships remember the plan. Hit them fast, hit them hard, then get out before they can react. The hegemony ships moved in perfect formation, just like Dr. Carter had predicted. They were organized and predictable. The aliens expected humans to line up and fight them ship to ship, the way other species had done for thousands of years. Instead, the human ships scattered in all directions. What are they doing? Asked High Commander Vrexcon from his flagship. The new hegemony leader had replaced Zexthal after Earth refused to surrender. Why are they not forming battle lines? Captain Mason dove his ship under the alien formation, while other human vessels attacked from above and the sides. The aliens had better weapons and stronger shields, but their ships were big and slow. The human ships, built with alien technology, but designed by human minds, were fast and could turn quickly. Fire quantum torpedoes, Mason ordered. The new weapons, created by Dr. Lisa Rodriguez using stolen alien technology, hit the hegemony ships where their shields were weakest. 3 alien vessels exploded in bright flashes of light. Impossible, Vrexcon growled. How do these primitives have quantum weapons? On Earth, General Patricia Hayes watched the space battle from her command center while preparing for ground combat. Alien ships were trying to land troops in major cities around the world. Sergeant Parker reports, she called into her radio. Ma'am, we have alien soldiers landing in Central Park, replied Sergeant Nicole Parker. She was leading a squad of Marines through the streets of New York. They're using some kind of energy weapons, but we're hitting them with everything we've got. The alien soldiers were tall and covered in thick armor. Their weapons could burn through concrete walls, but they moved slowly and seemed confused by the human tactics. They're not used to fighting in cities, Parker told her squad as they hid behind overturned cars. They expect open battles in empty fields. Use the buildings. Stay hidden. Hit them and move. Parker threw a grenade around a corner. The explosion knocked down 3 alien soldiers. Her squad quickly moved to a new position before the aliens could return fire. This is not how warfare is conducted, complained one of the alien commanders to his troops. These humans fight without honor. They hide and run instead of standing to face us. Maybe that's why they're still alive, Parker muttered as she shot another alien from a window 3 blocks away. In space, Commander Alex Turner was fighting a different kind of battle. While human and alien ships shot at each other, he was attacking the hegemony computers. Their systems are too organized, he told his team of computer experts. Everything connects to everything else. If we can break into one ship, we can control their whole fleet. Turner's fingers flew over his keyboard. The aliens had never faced cyber warfare before. Their computer defenses were strong against direct attacks, but weak against the tricky methods humans had developed. Got it, Turner announced. I'm in their communication system. Suddenly, half the alien ships received orders to fire on the other half. The hegemony fleet fell into chaos as ships that had been working together began shooting at each other. "What is happening?" Rexcon demanded. "Why are our ships attacking each other?" "Unknown, Commander," replied his aide. "Our computer systems seem to be compromised." Back on Earth, Dr. Amy Foster was working in a field hospital, treating wounded soldiers. But she had also made an important discovery while examining captured alien prisoners. "Their biology is completely different from ours," she reported to Admiral Morrison over a secure channel. "They process oxygen differently. The gas we use to knock out humans will kill them in seconds." "Can you make weapons from this?" Morrison asked. "Already working on it. Give me 2 hours." In the streets of London, Major Kevin Scott was leading the defense of the city. Alien ships had landed near Big Ben, and their soldiers were marching toward the government buildings. "Fall back to the second line," Scott ordered his troops. "Let them think they're winning." The aliens advanced confidently, their energy weapons destroying everything in their path. But as they moved deeper into the city, they walked into Scott's trap. Explosions erupted from every building around them. The humans had filled the streets with hidden bombs and gas canisters. The alien soldiers fell, choking on gas that their bodies couldn't handle. "Retreat," the alien commander gasped into his radio. "Retreat now." In space, Captain Mason saw that the human plan was working. The alien fleet was confused and damaged, but he also knew this was just the beginning. "All ships pull back," he ordered. "We've hurt them, but they'll learn from this. Next time will be harder." The human ships quickly flew away, leaving the hegemony fleet floating in space, damaged and confused. Rexcon stared at the reports from his commanders. In one day, he had lost 15 ships and thousands of soldiers to a species that was supposed to be primitive. The humans had used tricks and tactics the hegemony had never seen before. "How many humans did we kill?" he asked. "Reports are still coming in, but we estimate several thousand in the ground battles and maybe 100 in space. And we lost 15 ships and 8,000 soldiers to kill a few thousand humans?" Rexcon's voice was dangerous. "These are not the easy targets we expected." "No, sir. The humans fight differently than any species we have encountered. They use their environment. They use deception. They use their own weaknesses as weapons. Then we will learn to fight differently too," Rexcon decided. "Send word to the hegemony. Council, we need more ships, many more ships, and tell them these humans are not just primitives to be crushed. They are a real enemy." On Earth, President Warren addressed the world from the ruins of Washington, D.C. One of the alien attacks had damaged the White House, but she had survived. "Today, humanity proved something important," she said, her voice broadcast to every remaining TV and radio station. "We proved that being small doesn't mean being weak. We proved that being different can be an advantage, and we proved that no one has the right to make us slaves." Admiral Morrison stood beside her, looking tired but proud. "This was just the first battle. They'll come back with more ships and better plans, but we'll be ready for them." Dr. Carter nodded in agreement. "They underestimated us once. They won't make that mistake again. But we've learned something too. We can hurt them. We can fight them. And maybe, just maybe, we can beat them." Captain Mason landed his damaged ship at the lunar base. As his crew worked to repair the UES Defiance, he looked at Earth hanging in space. The planet was scarred and smoking from the alien attacks, but it was still free. "One battle down," he said to himself. "Many more to go." The war had truly begun. War Commander Vrexon stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, watching as 300 hegemony ships moved toward the human colonies. The first battle had been embarrassing. These humans had made him look like a fool in front of the entire hegemony council. That would not happen again. "Commander, we are approaching the human colony of New Boston," reported his aide. "Population, 2 million humans." "Destroy everything," Vrexon ordered. His voice was cold as ice. "Leave nothing alive. I want the other colonies to see what happens when anyone defies the hegemony." On New Boston, Major Kevin Scott ran through the streets as energy beams fell from the sky like deadly rain. The colony's defenses had lasted only minutes against the massive alien fleet. All civilians to the underground shelters, he shouted, into his radio. Military personnel, cover the evacuation routes. Lieutenant Sarah Williams, who had transferred from the Discovery to help defend the colonies, fired her rifle at alien soldiers dropping from the sky. Major, we can't hold them much longer, they have too many ships. Then we make them pay for every inch, Scott replied, throwing a grenade at a group of alien soldiers. The battle was hopeless. The humans fought bravely, but the aliens had learned from the first fight. This time they brought overwhelming force. They didn't try to be clever or organized. They just used their superior numbers to crush everything in their path. By the end of the day, New Boston was gone. 2 million humans were dead. The colony was nothing but burning ruins. Captain Todd Reynolds watched the destruction from his ship hidden behind New Boston's moon. His job was to gather intelligence, not fight. But watching millions of people die while he did nothing made him sick. Send the report to Earth, he told his crew with a heavy voice. Tell them what happened. Here, on Earth, President Warren received the news in her underground bunker. 3 more colonies had fallen in the past week. Millions of humans were dead. The alien war fleet was growing larger every day. How many more colonies are they attacking? She asked Admiral Morrison. All of them, Morrison replied. They're not trying to capture them anymore, they're just destroying everything. Men, women, children, they don't care. Dr. Benjamin Carter looked up from his computer. I've been analyzing their attack patterns. Vrexhan is trying to break our will to fight. He wants us to surrender to save the remaining colonies. Will it work? Warren asked. That depends on us, Morrison said. Are we willing to let millions more die to stay free? Warren was quiet for a long time. Finally, she spoke. Contact Ambassador Rachel Stone. Tell her to speed up her negotiations with the rebel aliens. We need allies, and we need them now. Ambassador, Stone was on a secret mission far from Earth, meeting with aliens who were unhappy with hegemony rule. The Zorvani were an underwater species that had been conquered 50 years ago. The Vextar were crystalline beings who had been enslaved for over a century. Your species interests us, said the Zorvani leader, speaking through a water-filled helmet. You fight when you should surrender. You win when you should lose. We fight because we believe all beings should be free, Stone replied. The hegemony wants to rule the galaxy forever. Someone has to stop them. And you think humans can do this? Asked the Vextar representative, its crystal body glowing with different colors. We're trying, but we can't do it alone. The alien leaders looked at each other. Finally, the Zorvani spoke. We will consider your proposal. But first you must prove that humans can actually hurt the hegemony. So far, you have only annoyed them. Give us time, Stone said. We're still learning how to fight this war. Back on Earth, Dr. Amy Foster was working in her laboratory with samples from captured alien prisoners. She had made a disturbing discovery. They're experimenting on human prisoners, she reported to the War Council. The aliens are trying to figure out what makes us different. They want to understand why we're so hard to predict. What kind of experiments? Morrison asked. Brain scans, genetic testing, psychological torture. They're treating our people like lab animals. The room fell silent. Everyone knew that humans were being captured in the colony attacks, but no one had known what was happening to them. We need to rescue them, Warren said. How? Morrison asked. We don't even know where they're being held. Captain Reynolds' voice came over the radio. I might have an answer to that. I've been tracking alien ship movements. There's a large space station in the Kepler system. Lots of ships going in and out, but no military activity. It could be a research facility. That's deep in alien territory, Morrison said. It would be a suicide mission. Maybe, said Captain Derek Mason, who had been listening to the conversation. But if we don't try, those prisoners will die anyway, and the aliens will learn everything they want to know about humans. Morrison looked around the room. I need volunteers for a rescue mission. This will be dangerous. Most of you probably won't come back. Every person in the room raised their hand. 2 weeks later, a small fleet of human ships approached the alien research station. Captain Mason led the attack in the UES Defiance, while Captain Reynolds provided intelligence support. The station has heavy defenses, Reynolds reported, but most of their fleet is attacking our colonies. If we move fast, we might get in and out before reinforcements arrive. The battle was fierce. The alien station had powerful weapons, but the human ships were fast and hard to hit. They punched through the defenses and landed soldiers inside the station. Sergeant Nicole Parker led the rescue team through the alien corridors. What they found made her angry enough to kill every alien she saw. Hundreds of human prisoners were locked in small cells. Many were sick or injured from the experiments. Some were barely alive. "Get them to the ships," Parker ordered her squad. "Kill any alien that tries to stop us." They rescued 300 humans before alien reinforcements arrived. As the human ships fled, Mason watched the alien station explode behind them. Dr. Foster had left a present for the aliens, a biological weapon that would destroy their research. When the rescued prisoners reached Earth, they told terrible stories about what the aliens had done to them. The news spread quickly around the world. "Now everyone knows what the hegemony really is," Warren said during a global broadcast. "They're not just conquerors. They're monsters who see other species as things to be used and thrown away." But the rescue mission had cost them. 5 ships and 200 human soldiers were lost. The alien attacks on the colonies were getting worse. Earth itself was running out of weapons and supplies. "We can't keep this up much longer," Morrison admitted during a private meeting with Warren. "They're wearing us down. Every day we get weaker and they get stronger." "Then we need to end this war quickly," Warren replied, "before they destroy us completely." Far from Earth, War Commander Vrexhan received the report about the destroyed research station. He was no longer just angry. He was furious. "Prepare the final assault," he ordered. "I want every ship in the sector to attack Earth directly. No more games. No more delays. We will crush these humans, once and for all." The largest battle in human history was about to begin. Fleet Admiral John Harrison stood on the bridge of the UES Liberty, watching as 1,000 alien ships moved toward Earth. This was it, the final battle. Either humanity would survive, or they would die fighting. "All stations report ready," announced Captain Derek Mason from the Defiance. Around Earth, every human ship that could still fly was preparing for battle. They were outnumbered 10 to 1. "Remember the plan?" Harrison said into his radio. "We only get one chance at this." War Commander Vrexhan smiled as he watched the human fleet form up near Earth's moon. The humans had maybe 100 ships left. He had brought 1,000. This would be over quickly. "All ships attack formation," he ordered. "Destroy every human vessel. Then we will finish their planet." But as the alien fleet moved forward, something unexpected happened. The human ships didn't run away or form battle lines. Instead, they flew straight toward the much larger alien force. "They're committing suicide," one of Vrexhan's officers said. "No," Vrexhan replied slowly. "They're planning something." Dr. Carol Mitchell worked frantically in her laboratory deep under the Colorado mountains. She had been working on a secret weapon for months based on everything they had learned about alien biology and technology. "The quantum consciousness disruptor is ready," she announced to Admiral Morrison, "but we need to get it close to their main ship, very close." "How close?" Morrison asked. "Inside their shields. Maybe inside their ship." Morrison was quiet for a moment. "That's a suicide mission." "I know. But it's our only chance. The weapon will overload their organized thinking patterns. It should disable their entire fleet for a few hours." "A few hours might be enough." Captain Steve Baldwin volunteered to carry the weapon. He was a good pilot with no family, and he said he was ready to die for Earth. 12 other pilots volunteered to go with him. "You know you won't be coming back," Admiral Morrison told them. "We know," Baldwin replied. "Just make sure our sacrifice counts." In space, the battle began. Human ships darted between the alien vessels like angry bees, using their speed and maneuverability to avoid the heavy alien weapons. But they were taking losses. Every few minutes, another human ship exploded. Captain Mason flew the Defiance through a gap in the alien formation, firing quantum torpedoes at their engines. We need to keep them busy, he called to the other ships. Give Baldwin time to reach the flagship. Sergeant Nicole Parker was fighting on Earth's surface as alien troops landed near major cities. They're trying to capture our leaders, she reported. Teams landing near all government buildings. Hold them off, General Patricia Hayes ordered. Whatever happens in space, we can't let them take our cities. Parker and her squad fought street by street through Washington, D.C. The aliens were better armed, but the humans knew every building and every street. They used that knowledge to stay alive. In space, Captain Baldwin and his suicide squadron flew through the chaos of battle toward Vrexhan's flagship. Enemy fighters chased them, and heavy weapons fired at them from all directions. One by one, Baldwin's ships were destroyed. First Lieutenant Johnson in the Courage, then Captain Williams in the Freedom, then Commander Brown in the Valor. Stay with me, Baldwin called to his remaining ships. We're almost there. By the time they reached the alien flagship, only Baldwin and 2 other pilots were left alive. The massive alien ship fired everything it had at them. This is for humanity, Baldwin said as his ship dove toward the flagship's main hangar bay. His ship exploded just as it passed through the alien shields. The quantum disruptor activated, sending invisible waves of energy through the alien fleet. Vrexhan suddenly felt confused and dizzy. Around him, his crew was stumbling and falling. Throughout the fleet, alien minds that had always thought in organized, predictable patterns were overwhelmed by chaotic human-designed energy. What is happening? Vrexhan gasped, but he couldn't think clearly enough to give orders. None of the aliens could. Admiral Harrison saw the alien ship suddenly stop moving in formation. All ships, attack now, he ordered. Hit them while they're confused. The human fleet struck the disabled alien ships with everything they had. Without their organized tactics and coordinated defenses, the aliens were helpless. But the quantum disruptor wouldn't last forever. Dr. Mitchell had said maybe a few hours. They needed help, and they needed it fast. That help came from an unexpected source. Ambassador Rachel Stone's voice came over the radio from far across the galaxy. The Zorvani and Vextar fleets are attacking hegemony supply lines. The rebellion has started. Throughout hegemony space, the enslaved species were rising up. The Zorvani were attacking with their underwater cities that could hide anywhere. The Vextar were using their crystal technology to disrupt alien communications. Dozens of other species were joining the fight. The Hegemony Council is in panic, Stone reported. They're calling all their fleets back to defend their homeworlds. Vrexhan is being ordered to retreat immediately. On his flagship, Vrexhan slowly regained his ability to think clearly. But when he saw the reports coming in, he realized the war was lost. Not just this battle, but the entire war. Commander, we have orders to return to hegemony space, his aide reported. The rebellion is spreading. They need all available ships. Vrexhan looked at the human fleet. Half his ships were destroyed or damaged. The other half were barely functional, and now he was being ordered to retreat. Signal the fleet, he said with defeat in his voice. We are withdrawing. As the alien ships began to leave, Admiral Harrison couldn't believe what he was seeing. They're running away, he announced to the human fleet. We won, but Captain Mason wasn't celebrating yet. Will they come back? He asked. I don't think so, Harrison replied. According to our intelligence, they have bigger problems now. On Earth, President Warren addressed the world from the steps of the damaged Capitol building. Today, humanity proved that freedom is stronger than tyranny. We proved that no one has the right to rule over others without their consent. Admiral Morrison stood beside her, tired but proud. The war isn't over, she said, but we've shown the galaxy that the hegemony can be beaten. Other species are fighting for their freedom now, too. Dr. Carter smiled as he looked at the data from the battle. The rebellion is spreading faster than the hegemony can stop it. They'll be too busy fighting on 100 different worlds to bother with Earth again. Ambassador Stone returned to Earth a month later with representatives from 20 different alien species. They all wanted to join the new coalition of free worlds that Earth was organizing. We've learned something important, Stone told the gathered leaders. Freedom is contagious. Once people see that they can fight back, they want to try it themselves. President. Warren looked at the alien ambassadors sitting around the table. 6 months ago, humans had been alone in the galaxy, facing extinction. Now they were leading an alliance of free worlds. The hegemony told us to obey, she said. Earth decided to resist, and that decision changed everything. Captain Ryan Hughes, who had started this whole story by meeting the aliens in the first place, was given command of the first Coalition exploration ship. As he prepared to leave Earth orbit, he thought about how much had changed. Humans were no longer alone. They were no longer afraid. They had friends among the stars now, and together they would make sure that no one would ever again be forced to choose between slavery and death. The age of the hegemony was ending. The age of freedom had begun, and it all started because one small blue planet refused to kneel.